We gon' put your business on display. Yeah, 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 yeah. We gon' put your business on display. I got winners on the way. You know you can't knock the hustle. And if you gotta get in place, then we gon' put your business on display. Grab a seat with Nisha for a minute. And if you got the goods, we can talk about your business. She know what it's like to make a move independently. And I don't fake us like that. We've been trusting God like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, we gon' put your business on display.
Hey everybody, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dynamic fathers in the world. Nisha here with Nisha's Network. Woo! And I just read the caption, you guys. So if it says the wrong caption, we'll change it later. But happy Father's Day to everyone. A lot of people are at church right now, or a lot of people are snuggled up in bed, or a lot of people may be hanging out in the restaurants for breakfast, treating your dads. But I wanted to do something super special for Father's Day because, first of all, happy Father's Day to my dad, Morris Crawford. Very grateful for him. But I wanted to do something special for Father's Day because Wes mentions this to me all the time. He says, you know, they roll out the royal red carpet for mothers. What do they do for fathers? So without further ado, you guys, I have some amazing guests, some of my best people in the whole world, and no prejudice to any of my other family members, but very appreciative for these men in my life. And I'm just going to bring them on one by one. So first of all, if I had a drum roll, I would do it because after 32 years of being married to this guy, he is something else. He is all things wraps up into a father. He hasn't been perfect, but he is an amazing dad. And I want to welcome my hubby, my BFF, Wesley Streetfellow. Hey, babe.
Hello, baby.
All right, we're gonna keep it rolling, y'all. So we're gonna talk over with Tiny Tim because this kid is the and he's not a kid, he's a dad of 4 people, but he's still a kid to me. He's my brother. We call him Tiny Tim, even though he's not tiny. But he's a super dad as well, and that's none other than my baby brother, David Jason Crawford. Hey, Dave.
What's going on, y'all?
Super proud of him as well. And then my only son, the only boy, man, child I'll probably ever have is none other than our oldest child. That's Gevon Timaul, Super G. Welcome.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Last but not least, my son in love, who I'm very proud of as well, who's also an amazing dad and amazing father. That's none other than Dean Patrick himself, T. Dean. Terrrence, hey, T.
What's going on?
So, I'm glad to have you guys here today. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
You
it.
are welcome. Are y'all sweating like I am?
No.
I'm
I got a fan.
Y'all real calm, huh? How come the mouse won't work? Well, listen, I just want to go ahead and kick it off because, truth be told, fathers are not acknowledged as much as mothers are. Would you all agree with that?
Father's Day, yes, that is very true.
Father's Day. That's what I'm trying to say. Father's Day. Okay.
I think we're like the number 20 on the most celebrated holidays. That's
not very nice, Wes.
And I don't even know.
You always can get a restaurant reservation on Father's Day.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Restaurants. That's for sure.
So you guys, let's just dive right into it. You know, I really wanted to bring you guys together. I have been praying for something special for Father's Day. And one of the things you all have in common is that you have all had some form of challenges in the daddy world. Not being a daddy, but having your own daddy issues. And I think that so many people don't really talk about it. And because you all know that we love you, I'm going to say we with me and Wes, and you have my heart, we could kind of talk about that thing. And I'm not going to dive real deep into it, but I wanted Wes to share a little bit about maybe his experience briefly, babe, not real long, He's brief anyway. But and then how that affects how you move forward. And then we'll dive into some other questions and stuff. So Wes, can you just kind of like open up a little bit about, fatherhood in general and how, you always make this statement about how it'll either affect you for the best or it'll affect you for the worst. You either make a better decision or you'll make a turn and make the worst decision. So go ahead, babe.
Yep. So let's just kind of talk about our family. So starting with me, because I'm the oldest son-in-law and son and brother and all that good stuff. So my father left when I was 13. He's got rough and he kicked rocks.
Hey, Wes, can you turn that fan off? We're live, you guys, but we're really much in the natural. So I can hear that fan very loud. Okay, go ahead.
So he left and I did not see him until we put him in the dirts, which was some years ago. So take that. Then I married Nisha and her 4 brothers who had their own daddy issues going on. Then if you want to throw in her 2 cousin brothers, they had their daddy issues going on. And then when you add all that together, it's like you really have one choice or 2 choices. You can either sink like a rock when you get thrown in that water, or you can swim and surface to the top and keep it moving. And I can honestly say that all my brothers and brother-in-laws, they are some of the best dads that I've seen. And I'm not just saying that because, they're my brothers, but I'm saying that because that's what I've seen. The examples that they have set and the things in the way, just the way they interact with their kids. It's almost like you have to make a point at some point to be like, you know what, this is my experience. I'm going to make sure that my kids don't experience this same thing, and make that best effort at it.
Okay, well, that's really a great explanation. So now we're talking to sons, and you're here, and you've talked about, the effects that dads have on your life. With your dad has an effect on your future. So, what word of encouragement could you give people that really have walked that journey? And this is for everybody, in terms of like making a turn with the areas that you have experienced, even in your own personal life. So I'm gonna just dive off into that. Anybody can, David, you answer that.
Well, I was just thinking the Bible says suffer not the little children, but what if the little children suffer you?
Sometimes they do.
The maturity aspect of just looking at the situation of just being a son and, diving into this whole big world that doesn't have your best interest in mind. You have a logical explanation for, decisions you make when you want
to.
Uh-oh. I think we just lost Dave.
He may have to log out and log back in. That's okay.
All right, it's just getting good too.
Right. I was really ready for it. Anybody want to pick up where he left off? The mature decision.
I'll say it another time, but I need you to repeat the question for me. I was trying to focus in, listen to Uncle Dave.
Yeah, I was kind of listening on him too. Well, it's just your own experience as a son, how that affected you, some of the challenges that you had. How were you able to really overcome them, even in the different experiences that you had? And I didn't ask permission from Gevon and Wes to share. But if they want to be transparent, they can. But because I thank God today they are amazing together. So that's what's super, God and their relationship. But if you all just want to share, please feel. Oh, here comes David. But if you all want to share before he comes back in.
All right. So I'll start. Gevon was born when I was a teenager to his mom, Dion. And we were both teens, me really probably being way more immature than his mom. So we it was a struggle. And when he was little, I kept him around as much as possible. We would get him, and then when he moved away, he would come up for the summers, and that was going well. Until I think things got complicated for grown folks, which had nothing to do with Gevon. And what I did, or what I shouldn't have done, is I kind of just had a give up spirit. You know, just kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just gonna whatever, which was not good. Because in the end, Gevon was the one who suffered from it. And that's why thank God for you, Nisha, and just women in general, who was like, this is not working like it should. I'm going to do something about it. And you make the big effort to search out and find Gevon and reconnect us. You can't say that it's been peaches and cream, just not because of any one particular thing done. But, it's hard to mend relationships, especially when you're not together every day. And, it's just a whole lot of stuff that goes along with that. And I would say that I give a whole lot of credit to my son because, give me 1 minute. He made the effort, and he is mature enough to be like, you know what? I know that things aren't working out like they should, but I'm not going to give up either. Even to this day, he's like, I'm not going to give up either. Even if things are separated or seem a little stressed, I'm going to still make an effort to make this thing work. That's it.
So that's pretty cool. Thank you, babe, for being so transparent. And I think that is a choice that a lot of fathers have to make overall, to turn, you know what the Bible says is what was meant for evil, God will turn it for the good. And so just because you experience something doesn't mean you have to stay there. So I will go ahead and, Gevon, do you want to respond to that, or should I go to David first?
I could talk.
Okay, go ahead.
I think for me, it started, for me, it was more so like, I think when I was younger, I wanted to be a better father than what my dad was. I think that's what drove me at first, was to be better. And I think as I grew and became older and stuff like that, it kind of changed to where it became less of my motivation to be better, but just to be an amazing me, really, per se. But I do believe the relationship that we did have or didn't have, it did mold who I was when I was younger, and it still, I don't want to say affect if it's a negative thing, but it has like some effect still now. You know what I mean? Like, but in good ways, not bad ways. But I think that is it's an interesting thing from both sides. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, it's like you just see the nots and have-nots, and then everything negative. You know what I mean? You don't know what the other person may be trying to do or may not be trying to do. You just know what you see every day and what you hear every day and stuff like that. So it's been a growing process, and then I think we did pretty good. I think we did pretty good, because it's almost like we had the same situation. Like, his dad left at his young age or whatever, and then dad wasn't there for me until later. And then the chain could have kept going. I could have ended up doing the same exact thing. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I took from it. I was like, I won't be that type of person. I won't be. I had to be the chain breaker, I guess you would say. And that's why that is one motivation that I do hold. Is like, I had to be the chain breaker. I couldn't let the same thing keep happening over and over again. I think a lot of I want to say black fathers, but I guess I just say fathers in general, they tend to do that. And then like they tend to use like, well, my dad wasn't there, so I didn't know how to be there. You know what I mean? As like, not an excuse, but like something to fall back on after they already made the mistakes. You know what I mean? And so I had to be different. And that was my biggest thing, to be different.
That's really good, and that's really powerful. And so I thank you for your transparency and honesty. And I think that more people, the Bible says that confess your faults one to another that you may be healed. And I know it's not easy just to dive in and just start talking about your personal life. And so I'm very grateful for you guys for your transparency, because it's healing and people are responding that it is really making a difference. So David, I wanted you to go back, Terry, before you go, I wanted you to to go back to talk about the maturity that you've experienced in terms of what you were saying. Where you got cut off.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My child, my firstborn, decided to call me in the middle of the interview and kick that off communication. But it's fine. It's fine. It's what happens. What happens when you give a 10-year-old a cell phone? That's what happens. Specific to maturity. Now, I just want to say that I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I do know people enough to know that the media portrays Black men as something of an oddity in this world when it's really just men. Specific to the fact that they go the extra mile to do the research for the 12% of the Black population in this country. There's no real justification towards it. Men go through things, and specific to children finding themselves in an absentee situation, we have to mature pretty much in that nurture environment. What's nurturing us at the time. Now, granted, I was very blessed. Gevon lost Wes, but I gained Wes, and I didn't have exactly the large gap of, lack of male figures in my life, based on my brothers. They still absentee too. Don't get it twisted. Everybody's got their own life. So, we have a ability to, absorb what we actually think true manhood is. And then we have the ability to give others grace who don't exactly obtain that version of what you see it as. And if you're not given the actual grace to the people who just haven't made it to that bar yet, or haven't put their full heart into, I just read a post of one of my buddies from high school. He said, I became a dad in 2010. I became a girl dad in 2016. I became a dad, a person who understood the difference between a dad and a father in 2018. So it took him 8 years to actually mature over a basis of knowing your heart. Yeah, you got to throw the head out of it. Most of it, you got to throw the head out of it, because your heart has to be dedicated more than your brain does. And I think that, the passion and the things that flow beyond that are based off of, making a true heart decision that you're actually going to be invested instead of just present.
Woo, that was a whole lot. Y'all ain't know my brother's a philosopher. Anyway, no, that was really good, David. And I think that there's a lot of meat to that. And hearing you say that brings back a lot of memories of maturing, even as I'm not here on mother's behalf, but from a mother's standpoint, and watching fathers and watching my sons and watching my brothers raise their children. And so I'm gonna let Terrence share basically what he is gleaning from this and what he would like to share just from your own experiences, Terrence.
My parents got divorced. I believe I was 9 years old. My dad was around. We did go see him every other weekend. He would come over, spend the night on Christmas Eve, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like our relationship was kind of like fun and games. Whenever I got with my pops, we would just do fun things. I feel like I didn't really learn too much as far as being a man per se. He kind of the height of our relationship was when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And he's passed away now in 2017. So he didn't get to see any of my kids. So he didn't get to even kind of give any advice on how to be a dad. So, with that being said, I kind of just went with my heart, kind of like Uncle David said, it's just kind of what you feel. Because you might not know all the answers, I do feel like once I became a father, I realized, people say it all the time, but I realized it's not about me anymore. Like a lot of stuff I would want to do, my conscience would pull on me, because again, that's where my heart was in it. You know what I mean? To where I gotta put them first. I gotta do this first before, you know, myself. But you know, along the way, Uncle David did just say something real powerful, because, you know, being a father is different than, you know, being a dad. You know what I mean? It's as of now, like really as of lately, my son is 4, my daughter is 2. And I literally see him do whatever I'm doing, or my wife. You know, I didn't really pay attention or think that would happen. You hear people say that, but I'm literally seeing it. So it's like you almost have to be intentional literally about anything. So the food you eat, to words you say, what you listen to, all that, because he's soaking it up like a sponge. So you know, that's pretty much it. I would just say, you know, you got to just go with what you feel, because there's really no rule book to this, you know, on how to be a dad. You know, people might have tried to write their little advice or whatever, but it's no right or wrong, you know. It's what you feel.
That's really, really good. What's you shaking your head? You got something to say?
No, not unless you want me to say something.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask this question. So what life lesson have you personally learned, you know, in a short, you know, phrase, because we got to ask all of you guys, what life lesson have you learned from your challenge? Okay. So, because if people could, like, if this was a book and you can give people the tools to be prepared for the absentee father, or for the brokenness, or for the disappointment, what life lesson could you give them to say, you know what, this is what you do to move forward? And Wes, I'll start with you.
You know, I learned this from Gevon. So even growing up, when he would come up for the summers, it was kind of just like what Terrence said. I tried to fill it up as much as possible with fun and activities. It wasn't. I don't. No, I've never given G a whooping. I may have yelled a little bit, but you know, most of them all, he was a pretty good boy. But with that even
You're
being
not supposed to
said,
whoop, babe. That's child abuse.
okay,
I'm just okay. I'm
okay.
saying to make it light. Go ahead.
Anyway, but one thing I've learned is, even with the fun and games, all kids want and need that father's discipline. They need that, look here, boy, this is what you need to be doing. And even as much as I think Gevon wanted the fun in the games, he still wanted that part as well. He wanted to feel like, I think it makes you feel like that you really care, because you're getting on me and straightening me out. And a lot of times fathers, especially when they're stepdads or not really in the picture as much, they miss that kind of part, you know, because they want that friend connection. But I really believe the friendship will come later, but while they're growing up, you need to be their dad in every single area. And don't skip anything, you know, don't hold back. That's what your job is, whether they want to hear it or not. And even when they tune it out and think it doesn't matter, they'll grow up and repeat the exact same things that were said to them. And they were like, wow, I remember my dad telling me this. So just be the dad that you're supposed to be. You know, the friendship will come later.
I think I remember this story, Wes. I don't even know if you remember this, but your mom called Wes one time, and she was like, "You need to deal with your son." I will never forget that. I don't know whether you were clowning or whatever, but I will never forget that when she called. And I felt some kind of way a little bit, because I felt like, man, even after the sting of you not really being there, it spoke volumes to your son needing the son needing their dad. And Wes was speaking harshly to you, and I was like, how you gonna speak harshly to him like that? But I'm just being transparent, because I felt like, you know, there's a guilt that you hold on to sometimes, with feeling like, because you're not there. And that was one thing, David, I think we went through. It's because, and I love my dad. We love our dad, truly, truth be told. And one day I'm gonna have him on here. But I felt like if you're always the only time you come around is to reprimand, it's kind of tough. You know what I mean? So that was something that stood out to me. But it does not mean that the dad does not have value because of their own frailties and their own problems that they may have had. And it's never too late to start over. That's one thing that I want to say. So Wes, I just had you prompted my memory when you said that.
Can you tell Chris to stop making false accusations on
Chris,
mine?
Chris is saying my dad karate kicked me for talking back, and he did it. He kicked her, and she shot across the floor. I'll never forget. So,
now what is everybody gonna think of me?
But anyway, so we're gonna keep going, you guys. So David, what is one lesson that you've learned?
So many.
But just one.
Just one. If you had to pick just one, you couldn't put it into words, I guess, because it would be, you know, I say the whole, you know, put your heart in the investment, but being present is probably the greatest gift that I've received, being a dad. And I look at it as, you know, the time I spend away, you know, you contribute to the fact that you spend 8 to 10 hours at work every day, and then you come home and only get about 4 or 5 with your actual children. So this pandemic has been one of the greatest presents I could have ever received or given myself, because it's been like something I can't really express as much as I want to, but them being in my life changed everything. So the lesson that I learned was the fact that if I can cultivate the present that I have, my future will be endless.
That's good. If I cultivate, yeah, that's really good.
You know what? I had a friend say something. He was like, he said it to me. He was like, how did he say this? He basically said time is more valuable than money. And that's kind of how it is. That goes along with what David said, though. Time is more valuable than money. Like being there for your kids and doing things with them, and just all those little things that you don't usually see is different than like you said, working 18 hours and working all day. It's a lot of men that still think that all they're supposed to do is just go to work, come home, go to sleep, go back to work. But that's not the case. That like you said, that presence is that is important. So I would agree with that.
Terrence?
I mean, I definitely agree on the presence thing. Just in my own experience, you know, I don't really know how my kids feel per se about it just yet, you know, me being present. But, you know, when I think about my relationship with my father, you know, the present is the memory. It's not necessarily what he bought. You know, I can remember some of those things, but the best times was just being together. So definitely that. And just something personally in my life is just trying to be a good role model, or just a role model, period. You know, you never, or I'm speaking for myself. I never lived my life intentionally trying to be a good role model to anybody watching, you know, including young boys or men, you know, but now that I have my own, it's a little different. So that's my number one goal, is to try to make sure I'm doing everything that I would want him to do. Because again, he's watching, you know, and it surprises me the stuff that he actually sees that I might not notice until a week later. You know what I mean? So that's just something as of recent of what, you know, that's a big thing.
That's really good. I have another question for you guys, and then we'll ask one more, and then we'll kind of wrap it up and bring it to a close. But all of you guys are husbands. So how do you feel forgiveness to your father will impact your marriage, right? And your friendship to your marriage. How do you feel? Tell me how you feel about that. The forgiveness piece.
The forgiveness of forgiving your dad for your marriage?
Mm-hmm. Do you think it correlates?
I don't know. I wonder if I could still be mad at dad and still be married. I don't know. I think I think not necessarily forgiveness in dad, but just learning how to forgive, being able to love and be able to forgive in general. I think is what you need in marriage. In marriage to begin with, anyway. Like things happen, you know what I mean? And like my biggest things that I take that I feel like I've learned from being married, from working things out with dad and everything else, I feel like my biggest things is patience and communication. That's literally that's what drives me more than anything is patience and communication. I learned patience because of Gianna. I remember when Gianna was a baby, she would just cry, 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 and cry. I remember one time she cried so long. I went up, I left her in the room. I closed the door and sat outside the door, and she just cried for like an hour straight. I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, I was getting so frustrated, and so I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I think from that moment, literally from that day on, somehow I developed like a patience type of thing. I think patience and communicating. Like my mom says this thing, she says, she always has this, I still think it's stupid, but she'd be like, the baby can feel what you're feeling. So like if you're angry, you're trying to hush the baby up, the baby gonna feel that angriness and keep on crying. And somehow it'd be true, but I still want to say it's stupid.
Okay. Patience and communication.
Yes, patience and communication.
Okay. All right, David or Terrence or what? Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So I think that absolutely you need to have patience and grace. I think a lot, and this goes for everybody, not even so much my family here on this panel, but a lot of times we don't slow down and take in accountance what our parents went through or their experiences, or did they have a father in their life, and were they abused, and did they even know their father? Who taught them how to be a father? And then they have a child and do the same thing. They just repeat the same cycles. So sometimes when you step back and have a conversation and say, well, what was your experience like? What did you learn from your dad? Or, just ask the questions and be able to really understand what they went through. It will give you a sense of grace and patience and forgiveness in all areas. And I do think that unforgiveness definitely will affect your marriage. It affects your life in general. You're bitter, and you may not even know that you're responding in a bitter way, but you're bitter and you're upset. You know, and something that normally would probably not even raise an eyebrow, now that same thing is done, and you're exploding. And who do you take it out on when you're mad and angry? It's normally the people that are closest to you. And that goes for any area of forgiveness or pain, or hurt, disappointments. And I don't want to talk up the whole time, but one more thing I say is don't let things or your life experiences affect you in a negative way. You can learn from them and grow for them, but don't let them bound you up and keep you bound. Like, oh my God, this is going to happen again. If I do this, if I don't do this, sometimes you have to just let go and let God, and just relax a little bit, because sometimes we'll wound ourselves up, and get stuck in a place, and it becomes unhealthy for us. It becomes unhealthy for our children, because they don't understand why you are the way you are. But there are reasons, and you're just doing the best that you can do from your experiences. So if you need to get help and talk with somebody, then by all means do that. And I believe that every son and daughter are a much better person with a dad in their life. I mean, you can when we counsel couples, Nisha, and we talk to couples and we ask them, even the girls who've had daddy issues, they're struggling. The guys who've had daddy issues, they're struggling. Um, Sometimes it's mommy issues, but not so much. It's those daddy issues that, man, just like the biggest baggage you'd ever want to carry. And it can really, really affect your life as you go on.
And that's kind of where I was going a little bit because, of course, like Wes mentioned, we're coaching people and counseling, and even my own experiences. I know how key it can affect your marriage because that was one of the things that affected me and Wes. He was like, "You blaming me for stuff that I didn't do," but it was the different things I hadn't healed from, which made an adverse effect on my marriage. And not that we had a horrible marriage, but I was having those daddy issues. I was having rejection and abandonment. And those things surface. And sometimes they surface with a loud voice. And sometimes they surface through shutting down and silence. And so that's why I wanted you to bring that up and bring that out, because it does affect your marriage and it affects every area of your life. But your home should be the most safe place in the world. And when your spouse is not feeling that safety with each other because of the things that you're tormented by, whether it be unforgiveness, daddy issues, mommy issues, it doesn't matter, or just pain in general, it does affect every area of your life. So, Terrence, I wanted you to go ahead and share, and then G, I think you could share as well. Terrence, unforgiveness.
Yeah. I had a lot I wanted to say. I'm gonna keep it short. Pops kind of hit on some major things that I wanted to say, which is like with the counsel, the seeking wise counsel, because in my own personal counseling session, that was what we discovered, you know, that I had issues that kind of trace back to my father, that when you dig deep, as far as, like he said, how was their childhood, or, you know, how did their father raise them, you know, all of those things. When I, you know, did the research and sat down and actually thought about all of it, it definitely had a huge effect, which kind of brought a peace over me. I kind of understood and felt sympathetic, you know. I mean, I really don't know. My mom always said, like, that my dad can never do wrong to me. Like when she'd be like just pissed, he did something just so bad, I would still be happy or love him, and you know, that would kind of get to her a little bit. But kind of that touches on what they were saying about the presence of a father. You know what I mean? It's needed. You know, when you think about, if he wasn't there, you know, what would it be then? You know, like at all. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as it leaking into your marriage, for sure, because, you know, it's a chain reaction. Obviously, whatever went on with him, you know, spilled over to you, and now you grown, it can spill over into what you got going on. So kind of like what G said, you know, to cut that cord, you know, and be the change, you know, the difference in, you know, just your family lineage, you know. So the moral of the story, yes, it can affect your marriage, but I feel like, you know, with the proper guidance, you can deal with it, and it won't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm mad at my father or mom, I can't be married, you know. That, I mean, you could be married, yes, but it might affect it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And G, I know you spoke already. I'm sorry. David, you didn't speak on it.
No, I didn't.
That was really great, Tara, though. I want to say that. That was really powerful.
I like what Dean said, especially with the fact that, you know, I'm very very invested in what my wife has going on, and the amount of changes that she had to go through to make it to where she's at. It because her problems were so much more worse than mine, I had the opportunity to give back based off of my experience. I think that my father technically was not absentee. He was just more or less involved in trying to change his situation. And I could see that from a distance. Even as a little kid, I could see it as a distance. So there was never an exchange of needing an apology. What I needed was validation.
That's so good.
If I didn't have validation, I wasn't going to even attempt to make it to the next step. And I think that Man, I'm getting old because I feel every part of that time period of my early teens looking for validation from every place I went. And then my early 20s trying to give validation to others because I felt like I was the man. And then to my early 30s where I'm like, shake my damn head. I don't know where I'm at. But I know that God has been with me the whole time and he has been validating me the whole time. And I can actually see the fact that when I actually look at the people that are important to me and my circle of influence actually come full circle of me seeing them through a hardship or them seeing me, encourage somebody else and it meant something to them. And I try to give back as much as I can because I surround myself with men. I think Wesley taught me at an early age, don't try to surround yourself with people who ain't going to build you up. So I've been surrounding myself with men for as long as I can remember to try to make sure that I could actually either gain something or give something. And the actual investment, and I'll bring it back around, to, look at these men that have been in my life. The number one thing that they seek for is validation. And it's validation that is not an apology. It's a saying that you're worth it and you're worthy and you are able to continue this journey being fully yourself and not someone that was in your past and not someone who couldn't contribute enough or couldn't be there enough for you. You can be fully validated in the male manhood. And Wes brought it up, I don't know, about 10, 12 years ago. He was like, maybe we should do, coming to manhood ritual. And I've been thinking about this for the longest time. I was like, my son is 10 years old. I wanted to do it for him when he's 10 years old, but I'm thinking about 13 is probably proper. So, the taking all my brothers, anybody who can show up to a cabin in the woods, bonfire, a whole weekend of just pouring into this young man's life to give them something that I never had, which was validation. Because I feel like if you can make it past being transparent about how you feel as a man, and I know that's hard, especially for strong black men, if you can make it to the point that you're very transparent about who you are and how you feel and what actually destroyed you and what actually built you up, you can make it to the place of making sure that that can happen for somebody else. And that's what I genuinely take into my marriage and why I encourage my wife all the time to build women up, because there's nobody there doing this on a regular basis. And you can take 330 million people in America. There's probably only 400,000 psychiatrists and everybody needs one. So that's what I'm saying. It's like everybody has got something up here that's, a little bit of skill to it, but somebody's going to step in at some time, and it can't be a psychiatrist all the time. So.
Woo! I am very emotional today. I got frogs in my throat and in my crocodiles in my eyes. Did anybody else want to add something before I go to the last question? To that, anybody? Okay.
I'm not going after David.
Yes, go ahead.
I said I'm not going after David.
Oh, you're not going.
No.
You're not going after David.
Come shut this door, please.
Okay, so before it totally changes all the way around, I want to celebrate you guys and say thank you for. I'm getting all kind of texts and responses that we need to do this monthly. Even Eb says she like we need to do this monthly, but people are like, this is so good. Uncle David, you need a podcast. So much wisdom and easy to listen to. But listen, you guys, this was so powerful today. We've gone over our 30 minutes, but it was so necessary. And I want you to really just celebrate today, remembering that you are changing lives even today in sharing your story. So thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your nakedness. And thank you for your realness. That really means a lot to me. And I prayed today before this segment, you guys. I prayed that God would minister healing to my husband, to my sons, and to my brother, because I know the pain that you all have all experienced, and in one way or another. But I prayed that God would not just touch you, but touch men everywhere that have been broken and feel like they had daddy voids, but they are superseding and going above and beyond being an amazing husband, an amazing dad. So with that being said, we're going to close out with, out of all you accomplished, everything in this whole world at your young lives, and even 53, your young life, what are you most proud of? So I'm gonna start from the youngest and work our way to the oldest. So Terrence, out of all the things you have accomplished in this life so far at 32, what are you most proud of?
That's kind of hard, you know. I might get like a top 3, but
Okay, go with your top 3 if they could be quick. Go ahead.
okay. Well, first and foremost, I think my marriage, you know, being married is what I should say. Like, it's like a stigma that like men choose their wives, but really we don't, because you can ask and they say no. You know what I mean? Just because you ask them don't mean it's a yes. So, and not only with that, you know, obviously I've been married 5 years and it's been like a roller coaster. So still being here, you know, and we actually on the rise of the roller coaster right now. So that's, you know, very fulfilling. That would be something, you know. Number 2, probably a little cliche, but my kids, you know, that might be number 1, you know, honestly. But, you know, without my wife, I couldn't have it. So she's number 1. And then 3 would just be my own growth and transformation, because I'm different, you know, and I know that personally, you know, the things that has changed for me and within me. So I'm proud of the person I am and still becoming.
That's powerful. Thank you, Ter. That's great. Happy Father's Day. Love you.
Thank you.
G?
Well, Terrence pretty much hit everything on the head with that. With it's the most accomplished, right? The most thing. What's the thing again?
You're so proud. What are you so proud of?
No, you know what? I was thinking about it. I was listening to Terrence. I think the thing I'm most proud of, apart from my kids being absolutely what I feel like is amazing, especially after McKenna's letter to the Tooth Fairy and collected her some dollars. But I think the thing I'm most proud of out of everything is mostly myself. It's because I feel like, you know what? I was thinking about it. Dad wrote me this letter one time. He sent me. I printed it out and I haven't framed it, but I have it I call it treasure box in my garage. He wrote this letter and he wrote the word anomaly. Anomaly. He wrote that word and he wrote the definition for it. And so I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I defied all the odds. I felt like they said, I started off as with teenage parents and then they didn't end up together. And then my mom had her marriages and stuff like that. And I felt like the road I was supposed to be on is not the road that I took, not the road that I went down. Like they say a teenage mom, gang banging, many kids, and drop out of school, possibly stuff like that. I felt like I defied all odds. And I feel like I'm here today as I'm an amazing dad. I'm an amazing husband. I think I'll still be learning things today, how to be a better father and how to be a better husband today. But I think honestly, I had to tip, just like Terrence, man, everything we grew up, like from where we was to where we are now, it's a big difference, man. I have to pat myself on the back for that. And then obviously the family and stuff come after that though, but I had to give myself some praise. It is Father's Day.
Okay. Started from the bottom down here. Okay. All right. Dave.
I am proud of. I think G touched on something. I think it was hilarious when Snoop Dogg said it. He was like, "I'm thankful for me." But I sit up there and it's real, because literally everything that has come in my life, I really want to be proud of the fact that I chose perseverance over negligence and just letting things fall by the wayside. I'm still a procrastinator, but I have perseverance through everything that, because 4 kids later, you got to have perseverance. I will say that. Wife having started and succeeded at 3 businesses, and us moving here about 11 years ago now, it definitely had to be perseverance, because if you'd asked me 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I wouldn't have did it. Now I would just sat back at home, play some video games.
Okay. Boy. All right. Sometimes you have to remember that you're not your little brother. They're somebody's husband and father. Okay. All right. Stream.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
So, and I don't, like Terrence said, it may be cliches, but it's the absolute truth. I think every father would say this. It's your legacy, and I don't want anybody to get confused or, because sometimes you can do all the right things as a parent and then your kids just choose whatever path that they want to choose. Doesn't mean that you weren't a great parent. They just chose a different path for whatever reason. But when you are a dad and your kids are doing everything right that they're supposed to be doing, finishing school and working and being great dads and providers, and I mean, they're checking every box on there. How can you not be a proud dad? It's impossible. Even if I'm a failure, and I told Nisha this about even being a husband. I was like, if I got some dirty jeans with holes in them and raggedy shoes, and I'm with you and you are dressed to the nine, people are gonna know that I'm taking care of you and I'm a success. But if I'm looking great and you looking raggedy, they're gonna like, dude, what's wrong with you? You missing something here. So with that being said, it doesn't matter how much money you've made, how successful you are. If your kids are successful, your legacy is going on and doing everything right that they're supposed to be doing. That is what it's all about. Everything else doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. As long as your legacy is doing what they're supposed to do. And when they're not, you just pray for them. Hopefully they'll get it one day.
Or you karate kick them.
Yourself to it.
What did you hear, G?
No, what'd he say?
Or you karate kick them.
You know what? It's all right. Look how great she is now.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, it has been 53 minutes. We was only supposed to go 30. But I want to say I'm honored that you guys took the time out of your day today to not just only do the segment. It wasn't for Nisha's Network. It is on this platform, but it's for fathers everywhere, all generations, you guys. And you mean a lot to me, all of you all. I appreciate you. I love you so much. I'm grateful for God putting you in my life. I believe there is purpose, and people that know me, I'll go fighting to the end of the world for you, no matter what. I may not say it all the time, but David, Jason, I love you, and I'm so proud of you. Gevon, I am super proud of you, and I love you with my whole heart. T, thank you for your perseverance. I love you dearly, and you mean a lot to me. And Wes, boy, happy Father's Day. I love you too.
I know you didn't want to cry. I
want to cry on your part.
I know.
But thank you for being transparent. He didn't know which way I was gonna go, you guys, but I'm grateful that you all did this, and love conquers all. So to all the amazing fathers, we are super excited that you joined us, and our sisters and my sisters and mamas and everybody. But please share this video. It will be a blessing to so many. Share with your dad, your sons, your fathers. All right. Y'all enjoy your day. Go hug your kids. And I'm cash apping y'all for Father's Day. So don't ask me for no gift. I'm just cash apping. Okay.
No,
Wes, you have to cash app them for the
I have to cash app them.
Yes. I got you, don't I, Terry? Don't I got Wes for Father's Day?
Hey, maybe, I don't know.
Oh shoot, Terry. Okay, but anyway, love you guys so much. Hold on 1 second. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.
Yeah. Oh.